Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance. Any public that may be online, thank you for your attendance. Any public that may be in person, thank you for your attendance. Thank you all our directors and staff. With that, I'd like to call our SPS board meeting to order and acknowledge that we are doing work on the traditional and ancestral territory of the Coast Salish people here within the city of Surrey. I'd like to ask if there are any declarations of conflicts with our agenda to any of our board directors. Seeing none. Moving along to the adoption of the agenda for October 9th, 2025. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Adoption of our minutes for September 11th, 2025. All opposed? Thank you. Adoption to a vote minutes from September 12th, 2025. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Consent items, we have already consented. There's the facilities committee terms of reference in your package for discussion and your review. That is consent item. We need to review that. There are no presentation or delegations. We will be moving right along into reports. First report will be Chief Constable's report, and it'll be a verbal update from Chief Lipinski.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon, everyone. I'll start off with a short presentation on the Surrey Outreach Team engagement. I have with us today Inspector Stephen Hurst, who oversees that team, and he will just walk through what the team is all about and who the clients are and how we assist the clients. I think it's important for the board to know how we build teams with the city and other stakeholders in order to assist the citizens of Surrey in a multitude of different ways, but specifically those that are vulnerable. So Steve, I'll hand it over to you, please.
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon, everyone. So the Surrey Outreach Team isn't a formal team. It is more of an initiative, and it's a partnership primarily with the City of Surrey Bylaws Enforcement Group. I'll start off with a couple stats. For the purposes of my discussion today, I'm going to be focusing my commentary around the unsheltered population. So a report was released in September 2025. The point in time homelessness count for the Greater Vancouver area. It was compiled by the Homeless Service Association of BC. So in 2023, in Surrey, the homeless count was 1,060. In 2025, the homeless count grew to 1,078, which represents a 2% increase. That puts us ahead of the curve as it's a 9% increase across the region. However, when we turn our attention to the unsheltered population, 2023, our numbers were 301. In 2025, 439. Representing a 46% increase, which puts us behind a 22% region-wide. So the photo that's up on the screen right there represents the Surrey Outreach Team as it's operationalized. So we have bylaws enforcement present. We have Surrey Police present in uniform. We have the individuals that are in civilian clothing. They're from our Lookout Outreach component. So every day at 7 a.m., 364 days a year, the bylaws-led initiative commences in North Surrey. And we attend areas that are frequented by the unhoused population. And the goal is to interact with them to collect all of the detritus and refuse that they assemble over the 24-hour period before. And then that is collected by the City of Surrey City Engineering and some contract work. Bylaws officers do an incredible job in this work. They are very much to be commended in the way that they establish genuine connections with the unhoused. They're very, very patient. They have conversations with them about what their plans are with the collected items. How can they assist them and offer outreach services of Lookout, the individuals there that are present. So Lookout is able to interface with BC Housing and any other number of our nonprofits that can provide assistance. They refer them to the library, where a lot of the services are hubbed and the unhoused population is welcome to go and attend to try and access that and additional supports. They do everything from getting them a granola bar to trying to get them ID. Make sure that they have clothing and that they are aware of the services that exist at the time in the city. And they really do get to know them by name, and they get to know the needs there. Again, I can't stress enough how professional and effective our bylaws officers are. And the Surrey Police are there to assist and stand by and keep the peace to ensure that the bylaws officers aren't encountering people that are overly aggressive or potentially in need of some sort of aid. That is primarily our role. We do take that opportunity as well to engage with bylaws, but it is very much a bylaws-led operation. The amount of items that are taken from each morning can be staggering, like absolutely staggering. So we hit a number of places in North Surrey. In the air, we're going to show a photo here in a minute, up by 13633 Grosvenor Road. That area is right behind the Welcome Hub Sums, where we did have a program that offered free breakfast until the funding ran out for that. What you're seeing right there are the belongings of one individual. That's an individual that has been in that location, was in that location for in excess of 3 years. And that is city-owned property. And he continues to collect, hoard. And bylaws works with him every single day to downsize. Please keep it mobile. Please make sure that you're not, spending, your entire existence here in this particular area. And he does cooperate, and he does make all of that stuff mobile. It's unbelievable how he's able to do it, but he does do it. But that is an individual that has incredibly layered problems. He's quite high functioning, and he's usually cooperative, but there are times where he is uncooperative, and we have to use the police presence to, make sure that an orderly engagement is done. Next slide, please. And that's what it looks like now. And it's looked like that for weeks because it was a sustained effort and partnership. Bylaws eventually posted that area cleanup. He was served documents indicating that they were going to clean up and they were going to use the authorities afforded them as peace officers and through Surrey bylaws to enact that. And we had the right number of resources there, including bylaw senior leadership, SPS senior leadership, on the day where he was, downsizing and finally moving. And he did in fact move. Now he moved less than a block north to the left, right out of sight by the fence there. But that was our next challenge, was to ensure that he wasn't impeding that roadway. So these are individuals with incredibly layered problems and complexities. We would have interacted with that individual within the span of 3 years, easily 1,000 times, because that's every day, at least once a day. And again, this is a relatively high functioning individual. He's a hoarder. He's very difficult to house. They attempt to find housing for him. What do they do with his belongings? He's an individual that would get his ID. He was born in another province. They worked very hard to get his ID. He gets it. He loses it within 8 hours. And without his ID, he can't seek certain income assistance advances as well as housing. So there's a lot of issues there. And homelessness it's a very, very complex problem. I've been involved in the policing of homelessness since my time with the RCMP, where I led a working group Lower Mainland wide over a decade ago. And the one thing that rings true from that time to this time is we cannot arrest our way out of homelessness. Next slide, please. So this area, we were up in District 1 in North Surrey, and now we're going to come about 30 blocks south, 40 blocks south, down to the area of 13600 block of 70 Alpha. So this is less than 100 meters from the Newton Arena, and it is less than 3 blocks from the Newton Community Policing Station. That is an entrenched group of individuals that you can't see it in the photo tool. You might be able to see a little bit of it, but they have a cooking fire going in there during one of the driest times of the summer. And that is a mattress on a Costco dolly. And they have it set up and quite entrenched. And you cannot see that from the road. And that's done by design. It's very, very close to the rec center and everything else. And I've been there a number of times. I was there during the cleanup. The individuals there as well are long-time Surrey residents. And that is a big misconception about the unhoused population, is that they're highly transient. That's not in fact the case. The average person experiencing homelessness, living unhoused, is in a community for about 10 years. So they're well known to different incarnations of our law enforcement's efforts to address help and support. And next slide. That's what it looks like after bylaws posted a cleanup order. They brought in the right resources to take it down. They had strung barbed wire all in and around that area to prevent people from coming into their encampment at night. And again, it's very, very close to recreational centers and even a pop-up park that was just to the west on 72nd, right by the rec center. So it does take a lot of relationships and connection and being patient and being trauma informed when we're dealing with this population. That's crucial. But we can get there. And the successes that we're seeing with the Surrey Outreach Team initiatives are they're scalable. So in North Surrey, we do the Surrey Outreach Team Initiative, or Street Smart is another name for it, 7 days a week. We've now started doing this, or bylaws has taken the lead in doing this Tuesday morning and Thursday morning. So that's now down in District 3, which needs a significant amount of attention in terms of the same challenge and same problem. So that is a way that we're able to connect with the population, discourage entrenchment. Because once there's an entrenchment, there are some significant issues there, and try and provide the best service delivery we can. In summary, the other two items I would say that are important that we talk about. So the Street Smart and Surrey Outreach Team efforts occur 7 days a week and 2 days a week in Newton and down into South Surrey into District 5. The other ones are a bi-weekly key stakeholder meeting for at-risk populations, which is chaired by the city. Krista Brown is the leader on that. Bylaws is involved, Parks and Rec, Realty, Fraser Health, and BC Housing. So we have a bit of a table and we discuss trends, ongoing issues, and priorities. And then we have a SOT meeting, or Surrey Outreach Team meeting, every week that's hosted by our Crisis Intervention and Prevention Team, known as the mental health team, interfaced with individuals in crisis. Our CIP team are the ones that primary SPS engagement presence with the Surrey Outreach Team. So we have people that have some training in dealing with at-risk and vulnerable populations. And that meeting is very well attended by bylaws, CIP, Lookout, income assistance. We have a number of other nonprofits that are.
Is FRAFCA involved, Fraser Region Aboriginal Friendship Society? Are they involved in any?
They have been. They have been, but it's episodic. We have to reconnect with them for sure. Yeah, and it works really, really well. We have BC Housing there as well, and probation. And that meeting, we deal with things on a very tactical level. If we're looking for someone or what have you, that's not necessarily a strategic thing. We talk about trends, but we keep it focused on the tactical information sharing and trying to really assist one another with that cooperative collaboration.
Mr. Chair, if I can just make a couple of concluding comments. Number one is the importance of stakeholder involvement as a unified team. I think we've illustrated that. And number two, the stakeholders and SPS, we continue with compassion to work towards assisting these people where we can. I'll take any questions or comments.
Shima?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Just in terms of like, so I understood, in that first, District 1, where the hoarder, had all his material there, or things there, and he just shifted kind of places.
Mhm.
Where did these people go? Where did their things go?
That is the $1 million question.
Did they remove it themselves, or?
So some of his stuff he will abandon. He's like, I have no use for this.
I'm sorry, second one that was by.
Oh, those they move to a different lot, and then they will continue to nomadically kind of move around and downsize as they go. We will see them the next session, but they won't have been entrenched where they were there with cooking fires and everything else. And then there are times where there's people we interact with, and then we don't see them again for weeks. And then we follow up with them on police indices, and we see that they've gone to a different location or what have you. So that's the $1 million question for sure, is when we ask people, okay, it's time to it's time to get up and it's time to move along. The question invariably is, where do we go?
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Inspector Hurst, for your presentation. And thank you, SPS, for carrying on this very good, is the best way I can describe it, initiative. I've been out with this team on a number of occasions in the past. I've seen the good work they do. Perhaps, Inspector, you could explain how the homeless count is arrived at.
So the homeless count is done by the homeless Services of BC. I have a copy of it here. So it's the Services Association of BC. It's quite a robust report. It would take a little bit for me to get into all the mechanics and stuff of it. And to be honest with you, I don't fully comprehend every mechanic that's in there, but we do count individuals that are unsheltered, those that are in emergency weather response areas, those of no fixed address, and those that are sheltered. So even people that are sheltered are in that homeless count. And it takes months and months to put that report together. And there's a number of volunteers that go out and they locate as many homeless as they can.
It's conducted over a 24-hour period, if I'm not mistaken, and it is voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a matter of counting people you see. You have to have their permission to be included in this. So, having said that, those numbers would probably be very low.
They are.
Because my understanding is to be considered in this count, you have to give your permission, your name, and et cetera. So, but again, it's not a mad thing. It's not a count that's done on a daily basis. It's done on a concentrated effort. It's a year over a 24-hour period. So, it is obviously a number that's not accurate. It's probably much higher. So the need for vigilance and assistance is greater. And our continued to advocate with the province to help us accommodate the unhoused is paramount. Thank you for that presentation.
And very much to your point, Councillor, one of the largest challenges that you see in Surrey that isn't necessarily experienced in all other municipalities or jurisdictions is the number of homeless that are actually in the woods. So in forested areas where we can't see them. So absolutely to your point, we're not literally going into every wooded area in the city of Parks, right? We get complaints. We try and be responsive to them, as does bylaws with our engineering team to go in and clean up encampments that are relatively deeply inside of the woods. And there are absolutely people that we are missing from that we just don't know.
Absolutely.
And just to follow up for me, and I thank you for your referring to unfortunate people to the resources that are available. So it's very important that the police service is aware of the various resources through the various agencies that we have. I know you're diligently pursuing that. So that's probably one of the more important aspects of this initiative right now is knowing what resources are available and what referrals are available. So thank you for that work.
Any more questions or comments? I really want to thank you for your presentation, and not only the presentation, the work that you're doing. I think I saw it in the room when our guts all just fell a little bit when we heard we're uprooting and saying it's done, move on. Where are we going? And I know homeless is not a new issue in our neighborhoods and in our world, but we do see the entrenchment, and hearing you trying to really deter the unhoused from really settling into certain areas, just the challenges that come with that as well. I thank you for that good work that you're doing and being creative and empathetic. And I think it is something that we're going to obviously we continually address. And I just thank SPS and all the work. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think the other important part of this is, when we're talking about resources, like this is not like the stats. We can't collect the stats. This is not a criminal activity that the police are dealing with. It's time that our members that we're putting towards this, that we have trouble. It's one of those areas where we have trouble, saying what do we need more, and then trying to, do you need the stats to do that? But, because it's not based on a level of criminality, it's we're assisting, we're helping, we're there for the community. I think there's a lot of these areas that we have within the CPB, within my unit, that we go out and we interact with the communities, but there's not a lot of stats that you can collect, I think, to justify a lot of the positions. So I think it's just important that it doesn't fall into all of the other realms of the frontline policing.
Question. I have a question. I don't even know how to state it. Are many of the unhoused involved in criminal activity?
Again, that is difficult to quantify, but I can tell you by some of the stuff that we do relative to our SOT team meeting, when we are looking on police indices to help find and locate people that are needed to be found for medical reasons or whatever. There are times where you're interacting with the same person several times a week, and sometimes you don't see them for 6 months. So a lot of the criminality that you will see relative to the unhoused would be subsistence trafficking. They could be involved in trafficking just to support their own habit, or they could be involved in lower level property crime to, theft from vehicle and things like that, theft to copper wire, binning, scrapping. There's a lot of that goes on. A great deal of scrapping and scavenging is that. So there's some attendant criminality with that for sure, in terms of property crime.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Thank you very much for your presentation, and keep up the good work. We could keep going.
Sheriff, if I may, I've got two other items that
it's my apologies. I only had one on here.
we know that the extortions are very topical, and it is one of the top priorities for the Surrey Police Service. I'll ask Deputy Prosek to just give the board an update on recent accomplishments.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll just first start with a quick stats update. We've to date had 33 extortion-related shootings in Surrey. That's in both SPS and SPOZU areas. We have had 59 extortion complaints that are not related to shootings. And that represents approximately 54 individual victims. The good news is that, as Chief alluded to, we've had a busy week and some significant successes, both the SPS, SPOZU, and the RCMP task force. On October 3rd, SPS arrested 3 individuals who were subject of an investigation stemming from a shooting incident back in March of this year. And that resulted in charges against 3 men, Mandeep Gita, Nirmandeep Chima, and Arandeep Singh, all charged with reckless discharge of a firearm. All 3 are currently in custody. On the 5th, on Sunday, RCMP SPOZU officers responded to a report of an arson to a vehicle in District 2. The suspects fled, and SPS frontline officers successfully located the vehicle. In collaboration with Lower Mainland District's emergency response team and SPS officers and task force officers, 3 individuals were arrested in relation to that arson. 2 have been charged. Harmanjot Brar and Hardil Preet Singh, both been charged with arson and possession of stolen property, and are also remanded in custody. The next day, the Crown approved charges against 2 individuals who are subject of a long-term task force investigation, Abhijit Kingra and Vikram Sharma. Those 2 individuals have been charged with discharge of a firearm with intent and arson. Kingra's in custody currently in a related matter, and Sharma's at large. The RCMP are looking for him. Other updates, the SPS has provided all of our agreed upon resources to the task force as of this week, and we're continuing our collaboration with the task force. And internally, SPS stakeholders, the Investigative Services Bureau and the Community Policing Bureau engaged in evolving our plan, one holistic plan to address the extortion problem. That includes providing the community with assurance, providing effective general deterrence, and of course, moving forward a number of investigations. That's my update.
Thank you. Any, Director Chima?
Of the individuals that have been charged, you said that on October 3rd, 3 individuals were arrested. October 5th, 3 arrested. October 6th, you had 2 individuals charged. Can you, how many of them are Canadian citizens?
Those are questions. I'm not surprised to hear that question. Those are questions I am not positioned to comment on because all of these cases are now before the courts. Those are questions that could be directed to the Crown.
If I may, Director, the media has asked about that and we've directed their questions to CBSA, and CBSA has responded due to privacy reasons. They're not releasing that at this time.
And I would comment, though, that we're very aware of the status of all of the individuals charged, and there's certainly been the gamut. There's been a variety. So I would suggest that there was not one common status with respect to any immigration issues or citizenship issues.
Stott and Director Allen? Oh. Go
It's
ahead.
okay, go ahead, I'll ask them.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Actually, my question was going to be along the lines of those of Director Chima, which would lead me to ask the composition of the task force.
Task force is comprised of officers from the SPOSU team, Surrey Operational Policing Support, as well as our CMP E Division. There are a number of officers from CFSU BC, the Combined Forces Special Enforcement Team, SBS, sworn and civilian members, Abbotsford Police and Delta Police, as well as there's a complement from CBSA.
That probably answers the question that we were going towards. So CBSA is involved in this task force, and they would perhaps be the authorities on that, the subject of citizenship.
Director Allen and Director Allen?
One question, thank you. Are any of the costs directly related to the rewards?
Again, I won't be able to comment on that because it does relate to files that are before the courts.
With respect to the task force, is there not a someone from sorry, I've lost my train of thought. From the Crown Corporation for council, sorry, from Crown Council?
Oh, like any investigative body in British Columbia, they are they're engaged with the Crown. So there will be a specific Crown Counsel who are engaged with that one file, but they're not embedded in the investigation.
Director Stott, I had a thought, but I lost it.
Actually, I'm just playing second fiddle to my colleagues here. I was going to ask the same question. I mean, Canada has a different system than the US as far as the embedding, in their terms that, DAs or assistant DAs, but I know there's been conversation about special prosecutors that may or not be applicable here, but is there any conversation as having an assigned Crown Counsel with an investigation? I where each other's coming from here. I can tell that look on your face, but is there any discussion of a Crown Counsel member being assigned to this task force for purposes of direction?
So as much as I would love to respond to that, I am not positioned to do so because it is an RCMP-led task force. And unfortunately, any questions in that regard would have to be directed to them. I can't speak for them.
Director King?
Just wanted to question out.
Yeah, I got one of them too.
Thank you.
Director Chima.
A quick question, Deputy, why is there no one from Vancouver BPD on the task force?
Can't, again, those would be questions directed to the task force, but I can say that I'm not aware of any files that basically Vancouver files that are being investigated by this task force. They all of the contributing agencies have files in their jurisdictions that relate to the project investigation.
I'm trying to think of how to ask my question, and I know you're not gonna be able to answer.
Try them.
Are the charged individuals associated with multiple, potentially associated with multiple cases here in Surrey?
Potentially, yes, but I can't confirm anything.
I was trying to find the, potentially, yes.
That is why I'm not asking it.
Thank you.
One last question on that crowd council. I get it, it's the RCMP task force and that they have, would a letter or some sort of encouragement to say, I don't know if putting somebody specific for the task force from crowd council would help speed up the process?
Go ahead.
Thank you for your question. Mr. Chair, I think we should take that one offline and closed.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions and comments from our directors? Thank you very much for the update on that. I know that's top of mind for everybody here and as well as throughout the city. Thank you for the work you did. Chief.
Mr. Chair, that is my update. Thank you.
Okay, moving along. We are moving into committee reports. First committee report is Finance and Risk Committee, and it's the chair's update from Director Parmar.
Thank you. First, I just want to commend SPS for their great work on version plus the outreach program. Excellent work. So Finance and Risk Committee report. Since the last three police board meeting, Finance Committee met twice. The first meeting was on September 3rd. Committee received a number of reports for discussion or for information. Committee does not have any decisions to recommend to support. Committee was given the briefing by the joint SPS City of Surrey Advisory Budgetary Committee's most recent meeting to share information, manage most issues, and identify decision points for council and the board. Advisory Budgetary Committee, or ABC, is a great example of collaboration between SPS and the City of Surrey, and its work should make the board work easier. As mentioned up the top, the Finance and Risk Committee reviewed and discussed some concepts that may be developed and come back to the committee and then to the board for discussion if budget resources are required. These include reports on the committee's safety officers program of Vancouver Police Department, Delta Police Services, and Abbotsford Police Department, and on the transition from the current analog-based 911 emergency call system to a digital next generation 911 system. At last month's meeting, the board considered a service or policy matter that highlighted the limitations of the existing system when it comes to transferring information by text and digital files. When it is fully operational, NG 911 should overcome many of these limitations, improving emergency response and public safety. SPS's presentation of these reports gave directors on the committee the opportunity to ask questions, offer comments, and make recommendations that SPS can take away and consider before coming back with options and recommendations for board decisions. Lastly, the Finance and Risk Committee reviewed the year-to-date financials that are included in the agenda package for today's meeting. The committee is satisfied that SPS remains on track with sufficient buffer to address some uncertainties and still remain in the balanced position. The current year's financials provide a foundation for the 2026 operational and capital budgets that the board is developing and must submit to the City Council by November 30th. Soon after today's meeting, the Finance and Risk Committee will meet with SPS to review the early version of the 2026 provisional budget. While we work towards preparing a version of the budget to bring to a board workshop by the end of October or early November, mark the calendars, so the board can provide feedback to the committee so that we can work with Chief Lipinski to finalize the version for the board to consider at the November meeting. The Finance and Risk Committee held a second meeting on October 6th to review the part of the operating budget that is dedicated to the board and board office. The financials confirm that the board has been prudent in managing financial resources for its operations. The committee discussed some of the surveys and public consultations that the board is required to do in 2026 and 2027 in order to comply with the Police Act and provincial policing operations. Our initial perspective is that an allocation similar to what was approved for 2025 will provide sufficient resources for the board to fulfill its statutory responsibilities. And last, that ends my report, and I invite colleagues to offer comments and questions.
With that, any comments, questions? Well done.
Thank
Well done.
Yeah.
Very well. Good. It was that well done. There's no more comments or questions.
All there.
That's all there. Thank you very much for your update. There's no comments, questions. We will continue on to Governance Committee. And I will get a verbal update from Director Allen.
Thank you. The Governance Committee met on October 2nd to work on terms of reference for an ad hoc facilities committee. Recommend for board approval and surveys conducted in 2024 and 2021 regarding what Surrey residents, businesses, and community organizations want to see from their police service. As the board previously heard, Chief Lipinski and the City of Surrey are reviewing what facilities are required for adequate accommodations of SPS and looked at the state of existing facilities and potential new ones. Prioritizing a list of accommodations involves SPS and the board working closely and collaboratively with the City of Surrey and Council to strike the appropriate balance between the Council's assessment of what taxpayers can afford to bear and the board's assessment of what the SPS requires to deliver police services in the community. The bulk of developing strategic and budget plans for assets is done by Chief Constable and senior city managers, but Chief Lipinski came to the board asking for a facilities committee that provides appropriate governance and oversight of asset planning, budget development, and approval of decisions. The terms of reference for the facilities committee were adopted when the consent agenda for today's meeting was approved. The board also approved appointing vice chair and chair of the Finance and Risk Committee, Sonia Parmar, and Director Sarjeet Bains, who is a member of the Human Resources and Compensation Committee, to the new committee. The Facilities Committee will report back to the board and engage other committees as needed to assist with budgets and other governance considerations. And with regards to the review of community surveys, the Governance Committee began with the position of determining what the responses say to inform the development of the community's priorities, goals, and objectives for SPS, which is a statutory requirement established in Section 26 of the Police Act. Respondents to the survey said that they considered violent crime, organized gangs, and gun crime and domestic violence to be the top threats to public safety in Surrey. Many of the respondents also said that a visible police presence was important to them, not only to prevent crimes, but to build community relationships, to listen to ideas from the community, and to foster public trust. The Governance Committee planned to seek further public feedback on a summary of what survey respondents said were priorities, but reconsider this approach for three main reasons. The timing of the surveys predates the SPS becoming the police of jurisdiction. The surveys were conducted since the surveys were conducted. The extortions have emerged as a top public threat, and the survey data focus more on outputs rather than outcomes and desired results that can be measured. So on that last point, the committee had a presentation at our last governance committee with Fred Koskinen, principal of governance, which outlined a process for effective, measurable, strategic priorities for police boards, and can develop and hand over to the chief constable to implement. So after careful consideration, the governance committee resolved two things: the current strategic priorities and plan, as outlined by Chief Lipinski, should continue to guide the organization into 2026, and that the committee develop a plan and budget for public consultations, including surveys and focus groups to identify Surrey's top public safety concerns, desired outcomes for improvement and metrics that measure progress. Regarding the budget, as Director Farmer mentioned, we don't anticipate there to be any request for additional funding, and the plan that the committee develops will possibly be similar to the budget that was in place for 2025. That is the end of our report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Director Stott.
Thank you for your presentation and thank you, Chair. With regards to the priorities, goals and objectives, the city of Surrey through the General Manager of Public Safety and the Public Safety Committee will be undertaking surveys and methods for surveys for priorities, goals, and objectives. And it would be our suggestion that we would like to share or work in concert with the board on those, specifically to offer our resources and facilities, for consultation purposes. But we will be, through the manager of public safety and the committees, be forming committees with that in mind. And we are certainly willing to work collaboratively, and I would suggest that we do with the board to come up with the best product we can. As we all know, that the city is responsible for public safety, and we want to put everybody's best foot forward on this. And as for the facilities, I know, but Chief Lipinski, you've been in consultation with the manager of public safety, and I know those talks are going pretty well. So we'd like to, maintain involved in that as well. We will be forming committees, through the city, through our committee, public safety committee, to assist in that as well. I think moving forward, we are working in concert and pushing together, which is a positive thing. So thank you.
Any more comments or questions for Director Allen?
Sorry, I don't know if it's for Director Allen or for the board, but I was under the impression that when we do these public consultations, that we would be doing them in conjunction with the city. No?
We discussed, I believe.
We discussed that,
earlier.
right?
Yeah, it's more from the, what we're looking at, we want to drive it as a board. We want to drive the questioning. We want to drive the outcomes and what we want to hear from the public, from the residents. However, the city has tools that we can use in concert to work together to get that information out there, to reach, to get the reach that we need in the community. So it's going to be collaborative in different ways, but not necessarily that the city is driving like the question.
I meant collaborate. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. That was exactly the right word.
That's it. Thank you. There's no more comments or questions. Thank you very much, Director Allen, for your presentation. We will move right along. Human Resources and Compensation Committee. We'll go to the chair, Director Caruana.
Thank you. From a human resources point of view, the most significant update relates to the changes coming to the Police Act that we were informed about. So these changes will create a new sworn classification of safety officer, which is not a full-fledged constable. These people will have less responsibilities, for example, no firearms, but they'll be able to perform related duties such as detention in jail cells and community support. And picking up on the point that was made by Director Allen, one of the potentials for these individuals may be visible police presence in the community assisting. So this is something in a very early stage. We're told about with these changes coming to the Police Act. It'll be something that we'll have to explore, and more work will be need to be done, but it's very promising in terms of these individuals may be able to come on stream much earlier because they require less training. For example, as I mentioned, because they won't have firearm training they'll have to go through. And the attendant costs with these individuals having less responsibilities, we would envisage would be an opportunity for us to bring individuals on at a different cost than what we have for the full-fledged constables. So we see this also as a potential recruitment tool with these potential safety officers, and it's something, these community safety officers are something that we anticipate more work will be done and dealing with in the future. That's the most significant item that came forward from our Human Resources Committee meeting.
Thank you, Director Stott.
Thank you, Chair. And Thank you, Director. This is a great idea. And it's a great path forward. I was gonna ask the question if they would be armed, but you've already answered that for me. Thank you. I'd like to make the observation that it would be a good tool for this level of naval be peace officers, I understand, to work in conjunction. With the growing number of bylaw officers we have, it presents a very good opportunity. But this is long story short, it's a great idea. Thank you.
More questions?
Would they be working with the city bylaw as well?
These are sworn individuals, perhaps the chief can elaborate.
Yes, they're peace officers. They don't reach the level of a police officer, so they don't have the training, but they have certainly more training than bylaw people. And so there's a number of different areas where these people can assist. Most major municipal police services in Canada have these community safety officers, everything from traffic control to working in our detention unit to front counter, and the list goes on and on. So some of these roles that we have that I illustrated, we have police officers doing it. So we want to be as efficient as possible. That's stream one. Stream two is this is a very good pipeline for police officers for the Surrey Police Service because they have that foundational training. We can mentor them and they could see if a policing career is in their future.
Thought on recruitment my apologies. No. When it comes to the peace officers, is it a thought that peace officers would be brought in to fill these roles and those police officers could then move to regular duty?
Correct. Where there's police officers doing the function now. Yes.
Like your job.
Any more comments or questions? Director, thank you very much for your, and yeah, we look forward to hearing more about it. Excited to hear. Moving to interim executive director, there is no report. Moving along to service and policy complaints, we have 2 complaints and I will turn that over to Jason.
Thank you. This is actually mostly for information. We didn't put it in the for information section because they were service or policy complaints, but you've, as a board, have already resolved on how to deal with these complaints. And what you have in your package are the letters that went from the chair to the complainants. They have a 30-day window if dissatisfied to go to the office of the police complaint commissioner to ask for it to be reconsidered. Just under the 30-day window. But there's been no indication of a requirement to reconsider those decisions. We'll know at the next meeting if there's any change to that. So really, this is just for information to say the letters that the board requested have been sent, and we'll wait to see if there's anything.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments around those 2 complaints? We're all aware. Thank you. Moving along for information, SPS Media Relations update and Chief Lipinski.
Mr. Chair, this is just if there's any questions to be had, there's reports there for review. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of things in regards to the media relations unit and how busy they are. So I'll leave it at that. And if there's any questions.
The 9/11. Oh, these are all just for information. My apologies. Jason corrected me here.
Yep.
All 3, the SPS Media Relations and G911 update and the year-to-date expenditures are all in your packages and were able to be reviewed. Those are all for information. Moving along to correspondence, we have the letter of the mayor, the thank you for the attendance of the swearing in the new officers. Another letter to Ryan Berg, acknowledging the awards of ICP 40 under 40 awards, and that was dated September 18th. Any comments on those?
No. Okay, just for the record.
The record. There is no new business. I have one item that I'd like to flag. It's I was on my drive in, I was made aware of a Indigenous Youth Justice Conference at City Hall, November 12th and 13th. I just I wasn't gonna, my request was, how do we assist? Where is a place? I did offer and say, well, how, is there a space? Is there somewhere we can interject and support, whether it's from our place at the board, whether it's my place at this, or the SPS, or collectively all of the above? I haven't heard back. That was just this morning, but it's something that I want to put on everybody's radar.
When's the date?
I believe it's November 12th and 13th. Just I'll confirm those dates right now. Yes, 12th and 13th.
That's
City-
Sunday and,
No, November.
oh, October.
Wednesday, November,
Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday, November. Pardon me?
City's putting that on?
I've got no, it's Frafka. Frafka's putting it on, but it's at City Hall. I have no agenda. I have nothing attached to it today. It sounds like it's just been moving, but more to come.
We have a police board meeting, do we
Yeah.
not?
Yes.
13th.
Well, as more information comes up, I will share that.
I will look into it on our end, so.
Thank you. I don't see anybody online, any of the public online or in person, so no question and answer period. With that, our next Surrey Police Board meeting will be November 13th, 2025, back here in this boardroom. And with that, I'd like to hold a motion to move the meeting into closed. All in favor, opposed? Thank you very much. And with that, I'll adjourn the open session of our meeting. Thank you. 5 minutes.